Hi, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I'm going to be sharing how to do a reverse mask sponge background using the new bird from Gina K's StampTV kit, Shabby Spring, along with one of my favorite sets from the past, Branching Out. Branching Out is a set that was featured in my book, Fabulous Stamped Frames. It contains a large background frame that's perfectly sized for A2 cards, along with branch embellished circles, ovals, and squares that will fit the mini dies that you probably already have in your collection. It also has some little branch borders, some little birds that you can put on those branches, as well as some flowers and berries. And I was just so thrilled when I saw how well these stamps were going to work together. And if you followed me at all the last 11 years that I've been stamping, you know that I love to mix my sets. The tools that you're going to need for today's project, obviously the Shabby Spring StampTV kit. You'll need some smaller blocks for the bird and for the berries. You're going to need a large block. This is a 6x6 grid line block that Gina K carries. It's perfect for lining up this stamp. All you have to do is just line it up with one of the grid lines, and it makes it very easy to stamp onto your projects so that they're lined up with the edges. You're going to need some sponge daubers. You're going to need some of the Gina K charcoal brown ink for stamping the border and the images, the Sweet Mango Gina K ink for sponging the background, and I also have some Memento Lilac Posies ink. And this is not an exact match for the Wild Orchid base I just showed you, but it's pretty close, so I'm really happy with it for doing sunsets with this paper. You're also going to need some white Pure Luxury cardstock, some of the charcoal brown, which is a beautiful neutral for mounting and matting. You're going to need some of the folded Wild Orchid cardstock. And she says this is limited edition, but I'm really hoping that we can keep it in the permanent collection because I've been wanting a purple like this for a long time. Okay, I also have just a couple markers here to accent. This is a white gel pen for adding highlights to the berries, and I have a YR04 marker, but you could use a water-based marker as well. I just wanted a little bit for the beak. I also have some scissors and some scratch paper so that I can make my mask, but you can use Post-it notes. I'll tell you why in a second though. I really like doing it this way with the scratch paper and the scissors. And then I have some repositionable adhesive. All right, so let's begin by inking up this background stamp. For a big stamp like this, rather than coming down onto the pad, I like to put it on my work surface and ink it face up. And a lot of times I choose to put my paper down onto these frame stamps, but this time I'm going to flip it over and stamp it onto my cardstock that is already on the desk. And when you're inking it with it face up like this, it's very easy to see that you've gotten all those little details in the stamp. So close this up. I'm going to put this white cardstock on my stamping surface. When I flip it over, I'm going to keep these lines running parallel with the top of my cardstock. So I'm going to put it down. This is going to be trimmed later. And then you want to apply firm pressure all over the stamp so that you get all those little details in the branches. And then you'll lift it straight up so you have that beautiful image. Okay. The next thing that we'll do is we will add the bird. So you see I'm going down onto the pad this time, and then you can turn it over and make sure you got all those details. And so see this branch that's already within part of the image, it's going to fit right into those two branches right there. So I just love when stamps work out that way. So straight down, press, and pull up. And it looks like it's one image. I just love that. Okay, I'm going to wait to stamp the greeting until later. That's always better to do if you're going to be sponging, just so that you have a very crisp sentiment. It's not going to be smudged at all by your sponging. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, some people choose to use Post-it notes or sticky notes to mask off the perimeter of their image when they're going to sponge into it so that they have that nice white outside of the panel. But I'm going to show you how to make a permanent reverse mask that you can keep with your set, because I know you're going to want to do this technique again and again. So instead of re-inking the stamp, I'm just going to use the ink that's left on it from before. I huffed on it just to reactivate that ink a little bit. I pull it away. So you only need this faint outline to create the mask. Okay, you'll notice I left some room around the edges. If you go too close to the corner and you're sponging, you can end up getting ink on your project. So I just give it about an inch border. So we're going to cut into the center here. And then I'm just going to quickly cut out this middle portion. And if you have the Inspiration Mosaic set, you can use this reverse mask as well to place over that frame and then sponge things inside of it. And you'll have that nice crisp white opening or whatever color cardstock that you have. So you don't have any sponging and you have that nice crisp line. Okay. All right. So this is going to fit right over my project and mask off those areas that I don't want sponged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive around this. It rubs right off with your finger, but it's going to hold it in place so I don't have to worry about it sliding around. And to be honest with you, I didn't do this on the previous card, but I just want to make sure that it doesn't move on me. It's just a better way to go. You're kind of taking a risk. So then you're just going to line it up with the background. Okay. All right, so that's firmly in place. It's not going anywhere. Now we're going to go ahead and do our sponging. So I'm going to start with this Lilac Posy. And I'm just going to rub in circles. So I want to have most of it up at the top of my card, but I always try to keep some white areas. I'm going to concentrate on getting it darker in those corners and along that top edge. Some down here. And you just keep moving it and adding ink until you're happy with the way that it looks. Remember, we're going to have that greeting up there. Okay. Now I'm going to do some of the orange. Okay. And I'm going to go down here at the bottom and I'm going to put that in with the top to blend them together. Just keep it moving. And you can mask off the bird if you're really particular about it, or like I am, just be careful. If you get a little bit on there, that's fine. Okay. And it's going to come out differently every time, just like a sunset. I love that about it. All right, so we're going to pull this away carefully. So you have that nice edge. And then you'll just go and you can use an eraser or you can just use your finger just to wipe that away. There we go. So see, you have this for another project. And like I said, I love to do this technique with this frame. It's just so clean looking. All right, so then I'm going to go and I'm going to add my berries. And you'll see this is a rubber set. We only have this one in rubber currently. But I really like that my frame sets are all in rubber, simply because they're good for so many different techniques since they have the bold stamps in them. There's a lot of things that I just really prefer rubber for, even though I love the ease of lining things up with clear stamps. All right, then I'm going to go in with my white marker, and it already has a little round opening to create a highlight when you're stamping on white paper. But since I stamped that over the sponging, I'm just going to go ahead and put that little white dot just right over it to make it pop. And that's like my little embellishment for this project. I didn't add any pearls or brads. And then finally I'm going to add my greeting. And I just melted when I saw this greeting in the kit. Your wings already exist. All you have to do is fly. It's just so precious. Okay, so just center that in the middle. Okay. And then you would just simply trim that down. Mount it onto the charcoal brown cardstock, and then finally the wild orchid base. I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you love how easy it is to use this frame, and it gives you ideas for lots of other birds or flowers or other images that you have. It's a great kit. It's a great set. If you'd like more inspiration for my branching out frame, you can find it and other projects in my Fabulous Stamp Frames book. Thanks for watching.